Thank you very much. Good morning, church. Good. So, can anybody tell me what we've been learning about this morning? Temptation? Good. So I'm going to continue that. I'm going to be talking on temptation today. And I just want to say, however old you are, whether you're 4, whether you're 44, whether you're 94, temptation can affect everybody. And it doesn't matter how small the temptation is, or how massive it is, everyone's affected in different ways. So this talk, I really believe, is for everybody in there, whether you're tiny, whether you can only just understand English, whether you're old and you can barely hear English. This talk is for everybody. So today we're just going to have a small look at some people in the Bible who were tempted. Some who worked through that temptation, but also some who were overcome from that temptation. So if we can just go to Matthew 4, verse 1 to 11. This is a story about when Jesus was in the wilderness and he was tempted by the devil. So we'll just kick off from here. And it might come up on the screen, I'm not sure. But it says, "Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. After fasting 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. The tempter came to him and said, 'If you are the Son of God, tell these stones to become bread.' Jesus answered, 'It is written, man shall not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God.' Then the devil took him up to the holy city and had him stand on the highest point of the temple. 'If you are the Son of God,' he said, 'throw yourself down. For it is written, he will command his angels concerning you, and they will lift you up in their hands, so that you will not strike a foot against your stone.' Jesus answered him, 'It is also written, do not put the Lord your God to the test.' Again, the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their splendor. 'All of this I will give you,' he said, 'if you bow down and worship me.' And Jesus said, 'Away from me, Satan, for it is written, worship the Lord your God and serve him only.' And the devil left him, and the angels came and attended him." So I said at the beginning we're going to be looking at some people in the Bible who were tempted and they got through it, and people who were tempted and they didn't get through it. And now this is Jesus, and he managed to get through it because he's God. And but I just wanted to pick out one bit in this verse, and it's in verse 3. If you could put that up, Dina. It says, "The tempter came to him and said, 'If you are the Son of God, tell these stones to become bread.'" And the word I want to look at there is tempter, because the thing is, the devil is the tempter. And temptation is one of the devil's best tools. And the devil's smart about it too. And I was watching this guy called Francis Chan. Lots of you guys might have heard about him. But he had a great illustration about temptation. How temptation is like Satan with a fishing rod. So he's fishing. And we are the fish. And what the fish see is a nice juicy big worm. That's all they see in front of them. Like, I want a bit of that. They go to it. They bite the worm without really realizing what is behind the worm. And that is the hook. And the thing is, Satan is smart about it. And there's going to be temptations in your life. For me, when I'm sat at home, I look on the table, there's my Bible. I'm like, yes, I could read the Bible. But then sat next to it is my PlayStation 4 remote. And I'm like, now which one will benefit me most? And to be honest with you, sometimes it is the Bible. A lot of the time, it is the PlayStation remote. That's because he is smart and he will tempt you where you are weak. And we're all weak in different areas. I'm pretty sure if that was a decision for Lavinia, she would 100% pick the Bible every single time, because we are all different. But that doesn't mean any of our temptations are worse than anybody else's or better than anybody else's. And if we look back into the Bible, temptation is the thing that caused the original sin. Back with Adam and Eve, when Satan, again, the tempter, he came and he tempted Eve. And she gave into that temptation. And because of that, sin came into the world. We see different people in the Bible who were tempted and mishandled this temptation. There's David in the Old Testament, who was adulterous. There's Samson, who gave in to his wife's nagging, even though God told him not to. There was Ananias, there was Eve, there was Peter. And giving into our temptations has consequences, as we see from all these people. And just as we did with the food game, back then, We didn't see the consequence that was behind that temptation. Well, I did, because I thought of a game. But you guys didn't see the consequence that was behind that temptation. If that was me, I would in no way get the apple. I would always go for the cookie when it's there. And while I'm eating it, yeah, this is great. This is brilliant. But afterwards, that's where the consequence comes in. And I don't even know if I can do 15-star jumps. So that's why I didn't go up and take the cookie. And just like we watched in the video, the marshmallows, some people were just taking a little pick at the temptation, like, maybe I'll have a little bit, no one will notice. Oh, that tasted good. I'm going to have a little bit more. Or I'm going to have a little bit more, a little bit more. And then you've been overtaken by the temptation. And no one is safe from temptation, but we need to know how to handle it. James 1:14 says, but every man and woman is tempted when he's drawn away of his own lust and enticed. And as we see earlier, even Jesus, the one man who's never sinned on this earth, the devil thought he could have him. He tried it. So if he tried it with him, he's going to try it with all of us. But there is a way to fight against this temptation. And if we could just turn to Ephesians 6:10, where it talks about the armor of God. And it says, finally, be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Put on the full armor of God so you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Therefore, put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you've done everything to stand firm then, with a belt of truth buckled around your waist, with the breastplate of righteousness in place, and with your feet fitted with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. In addition to all this, take up your shield of faith, with which you can extinguish all the flaming arrows of the evil one. Take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of the God. And then this next bit's really important. So all that stuff what I just said was important as well. We need to protect ourselves from the flaming arrows of the evil one, and pray in the Spirit on all occasions with all kinds of prayers and requests. With this in mind, be alert and always keep on praying for the Lord's people. Pray also for me that whenever I speak, words may be given to me, so that I will fiercely make known the mystery of the gospel, for which I am an ambassador in chains. Pray that I may declare it fiercely. And I just want to spend a bit of time now, like it said here, praying for our temptations. And like I said at the beginning, everyone's temptations are different. And a lot of the time we can be embarrassed by our temptations. We won't want to share them with people. But we need to put on the full armor of God and pray. So right now there's going to be a few different ways which we can pray. And it will involve you guys getting involved, getting up and getting a bit active. So the first area is down here at the front. So the kids are here now, but I might ask politely if they could just step back a bit. And there's going to be a space here for prayer in case there's anyone who wants prayer for a particular temptation what might be affecting them. And that might not be for everybody, but that's one area which I'm going to open up now. The next one is, usually in church you sit next to people who you're comfortable with. So if you've got a temptation where you don't want someone at the front who you've never known to know, turn to the person next to you and pray them. And then finally, if you look around the room, there's one there, one there, one there, and one somewhere else, back there. There's pieces of paper. And I Googled, what are the 4 most common temptations? And there'll be people in here with these temptations. So I want us to go around, read these signs, and just pray for anybody who's struggling with them temptations. And that's just what I want to do now, because the Bible says, and pray in the Spirit on all occasions, with all kinds of prayer, whether it's one-on-one here, whether it's for praying for someone you don't know, with all kinds of prayer, we need to give it all to God. So this does involve a bit of movement, and I know sometimes we don't like to move, but let's just step out of our comfort zones here, let's move, let's just pray for those around us.